Yeah, this is Point Black, coming in hard and off the car, coming with the flow straight from the barrio, and coming with that heat from the damn street. This is PBNN, Point Black National News, the late and the great edition, and the ghetto edition as well. You know what I'm saying? Coming with the facts, the crack backs, and the boom bit to the line ass lips. Because this is what we must do. Many people don't see it that way, or maybe they do. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you know what I'm saying, the things that you do, they want to know about. But when they do it, they don't want you to know. So they will not be shamed in the nastiness they do, even when it comes to even their very sexuality. You know what I'm saying? They hide even things like that secret and many other things. You know, murder, killing, orchestration of that whole race of people dying or some bullshit, and tossing themselves around the world and doing as they like. But when you say anything or they see you do the common thing that people do, the first thing they want to do is try to shame you on that. But when you look at their shit is not common, nor if you see it, it might make you throw up. So we have to look at today's world as an aspect of understanding exactly the type of shit that just went on in the COVID pandemic. Bullshitical, you know, with era, you know what I'm saying? And creepy Joe Biden, Anthony Fauci, Billy the motherfucking Luciferian Baphomet Goat Gates, you know what I'm saying, and his whole family. Same thing goes for the creepy Biden family. And many other families in the White House that is involved in our political scene, even going to where we can't see it. You know what I'm saying? Some call it the, what would they call it? The government inside the government. You know what I'm saying? But really, to me, it's the government, and bullshit have taken over our government and have always been there, even probably going back to 1963 and probably 1962, 61. So, you know, even around those eras, and have been manipulating our government ever since. You know what I'm saying? From the inside out. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, we have to look at what, you know, some of the greatest people, and one of the greatest person I still think as a leading Democrat, you know, had to say about the bullshit that's going on, and that leads to what we see today. Even Robert F. Kennedy say he aware that the CIA can do the same thing to him they did to his uncle. So today, I'm thinking that, you know what I'm saying, we have to, I don't usually give any glorification to demon Democrats, but today, I'm definitely going to give it to this one. Now let's look at what he has to say in his greatest and latest words. You know what I'm saying?
Ladies and gentlemen, the very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society, and we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment.
Pay attention carefully, people, because it's very important that you understand this aspect.
Ladies and gentlemen, the very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society, and we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweighed the dangers which are cited to justify it. Even today, there is little value in opposing the threat of a closed society by imitating its arbitrary restrictions. Even today, there is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it. And there is very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. That I do not intend to permit to the extent that it's in my control. And no official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, civilian or military, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed. No president should fear public scrutiny of his program, for from that scrutiny comes understanding, and from that understanding comes support or opposition, and both are necessary. I am not asking your newspapers to support an administration, but I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people. For I have complete confidence in the response and dedication of our citizens whenever they are fully informed. I not only could not stifle controversy among your readers, I welcome it. This administration intends to be candid about its errors, for as a wise man once said, an error doesn't become a mistake until you refuse to correct it. We intend to accept full responsibility for our errors, and we expect you to point them out when we miss them. Without debate, without criticism, no administration and no country can succeed, and no republic can survive. That is why the Athenian lawmaker Solon decreed it a crime for any citizen to shrink from controversy. And that is why our press was protected by the First Amendment, the only business in America specifically protected by the Constitution, not primarily to amuse and entertain, not to emphasize the trivial and the sentimental, not to simply give the public what it wants, but to inform, to arouse, to reflect, to state our dangers and our opportunities, to indicate our crises and our choices, to lead, mold, educate, and sometimes even anger public opinion. This means greater coverage and analysis of international news, for it is no longer far away and foreign, but close at hand and local. It means greater attention to improved understanding of the news, as well as improved transmission. And it means, finally, that government at all levels must meet its obligation to provide you with the fullest possible information outside the narrowest limits of national security. And so it is to the printing press, to the recorder of man's deeds, the keeper of his conscience, the courier of his news, that we look for strength and assistance, confident that with your help, man will be what he was born to be, free and independent.
People think Lenin Piano.
Now, that speaks for itself in all ways. You know what I'm saying? And when we look at the creep Joe Biden, and the even Democrats and those that using either party may be, as we can see, you know what I'm saying, in many ways, many things. One is pushing for this and the openness of it. The other one has thoroughly fought against the open understanding of information that the people need in its group, because we know full well, deep down in the guts of it, somewhere they all seem to have some form of connection to these different bullshitical moves of blocking and carrying on, and this thing goes down the drain and everybody goes right along with it, and everybody else ends up doing it. Everybody else is forced, everybody's scared, everybody's in fear, everybody got to hear this by it. Oh, you know, soon they're gonna come and do it, and create a war, you know what I'm saying, in its matter. Creep Joe Biden knew that when he pulled the bullshit that he just did in the pandemic, along with Cuomo, Kathy Hochul, you know what I'm saying, Mr. Q-Ball Greasy Head Adams, Bill Gates, Bush, Obama, Hillary, and Michelle Obama, and all the rest of them that are in that same group line of the bullshit that they do. That goes for Creep Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, you know what I'm saying, Slick Wills, and Obama, and his wife, or whatever that is, and you know what I'm saying, on and on and on. In the last 40 something years, these players have been playing us like a fiddle, you know what I'm saying, and we have to now start to acknowledge our wisdom based on understanding everything that is around us. You cannot just simply say and sit there and keep on saying that, that this is a conspiracy theory. You know what I'm saying? You know, take your little naive, clown, twisted, gubernatorial, gobblehead ass away from the regular people who have some real sense. Let's just be frank here. You know what I'm saying? Let's just be frank here. This goes out to Robert F. Kennedy as well. Somebody I think that we truly need to back up and support is Mr. Robert F. Kennedy. And I really don't always have anything good to say or endorse anything to do with a demon Democrat. You know what I'm saying? But I think that Robert F. Kennedy, alongside the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, as a vice president, you know, at this moment, would be one of the greatest moves we ever seen in a long time. A Republican and a Democrat standing firm. This needs to happen in all ways. You know what I'm saying? This needs to happen in all ways. Since Creep Joe Biden likes to talk about a Republican and a Democrat, he don't want, it's not going to be Republican or Democrat. It's just going to be a Democratic Republic. Something is wrong with Creep Joe ass. You know what I'm saying? But we need to start to focus more on the people who can do the job and get it done. I think Robert F. Kennedy, you know what I'm saying, deserves a shot as a vice president, you know what I'm saying, at this moment, or if he wins presidency, either one. But as a vice president, if he doesn't, I at least think that he deserves the vice president spot. You know what I'm saying? But I still think that Donald J. Trump, should be put back in the White House until next election in the matter of another 4 years. You know what I'm saying? And we need to really look at that. It's highly important that we understand the players in the field. You know what I'm saying? We must watch the players in the field because we know those players go deeper than it's supposed to go. And we know they've been digging deep for many, many, many years. And they've been building up, and the people have been constantly supporting their way of taking money and riches across the land and building, you know, doing this crazy shit, you know what I'm saying, to people and doing it to you know, countries and destabilizing them and, you know, killing millions in one shot. You know what I mean? not just one or two, which shouldn't even be, but at the same time, and then when it happens, nobody knows about it, and then by the time you find out it happened, you discover a mass grave of hundreds of thousands of people they done killed off. The same thing they're doing in Africa as well, because people has allowed these same people to convict their minds into believing bullshit about black people. But meanwhile, all of them constantly going to Africa, in African black people's land, to validate their religion. Same thing the guy did from Jehovah Witness. He went over to Africa, I think to a mountain over there. I don't know if it's Mountain Kilimanjaro, whatever mountain it was, but it was a huge mountain. And he goes over there, camps out at the base, and named I think the mountain Mount Zion. Mount Zion. You know what I'm saying? I think he might have been the one to name it that. I'm not 100% sure, don't quote me on that, but I think he went over there, Jehovah Witness nutcase, and he named it Mount Zion. And now he might have known things that people didn't know, you know what I'm saying? And he might have, certain things that he probably facilitated paganism, you know what I'm saying? Because we know for well they came from the Siberian mountains. But at the same time, you know what I'm saying, we know for well that we have to start looking at this from a better perspective. We cannot just keep looking at it and going around talking about conspiracy theory and y'all demon Democrat nutcase fucking having ass is out here trying to convince other people into believing that bullshit. Same thing we saw with Sharon nutcase, monkey looking, gorilla looking, damn the cave woman Notchman up there in Stony Brook. You know what I'm saying? Instead of practicing true medicine, this is what they do. And Kennedy isn't telling the truth on what he just said. You need to go over it and over it and over it and over it, because you're not getting the picture. You're naive, and you have been supporting your destruction all the way up to now. What proved that? COVID-19. Now, in the theory of the matter, we see the same thing with Donald J. Trump and how they tried to do this and that to him. You know what I'm saying? Now we have Robert F. Kennedy stepping up and saying that he knows for well it's the CIA can do this and do that to him like they did to his uncle. And this is a government that you love so much. There needs to be a reformation in our government as a whole. We don't give a damn what them other clowns do outside of the White House, on outside of our government. But when it comes to the structural leadership and the economic studies that the government is supposed to be, elected to be able to do the people's business and have that wealth and prosperity growing for all Americans, we have seen a facilitation of breaking that down year after year after year with these clowns. And then when we look across the land to many other countries, we see their hand is in the destruction that's going on, including Sudan. And many African countries that have been doing this shit. The same thing when AIDS came out. You had whole tribes of African people, a whole village, every single one of them. How did that happen? That's impossible. And scientifically, it's impossible. But in their minds, they'll say, oh yeah, well he came over here and he was a performer and he got with this and that and the third, and next thing you know he was, after performance and you go have the orgies, and next thing you know he get AIDS and he go back to his country and then he screw every single woman in the village, or one woman and then and all that, and next thing you know he spread all across Africa. We know full well who put that shit out, and we know full well who was the one who orchestrated that shit to begin with in the fullness. So while you calling conspiracy theories and all this bullshit and censoring the media and all kinds of bullshit, you ain't showing us nothing but your nasty ass hand. And that's what they showed us in COVID-19. How nasty they can get. This is why I kept repeating over and over to watch the medical be healed. Because one of the most vulnerable places of a human can be the medical field. Being that you get sick, where do you go? Okay? Being that you have an ailment, who do you run to? You're naive by not looking at this. You know what I'm saying? And when you are terminally sick and so forth on, you don't want to hear nothing from nobody in the street. You want to get to where you got to go to get that taken care of, or hope that they can take care of it and get you back right. Same as if you have a toothache. This is even the dentistry shit is fucked up in Long Island and the United States sometimes. Depends on where you may live at. We don't see a lot of black people doing dentistry work. Not around here, maybe other places, but we don't see many, and it's a noble trade created by African people in itself. And we do not see that in Long Island or this area. And we need to see more black people, in professions such as dentistry, and many other professions of health, rather than riding the demon Democrats, balls-licking, deep state, balls-licking ass, sucking blood and shit, and selling your people out for some motherfucking trinkets, which I hope you can take with you when you leave this planet, you know what I'm saying? Because you're a jackass. And to me, they have infiltrated our government, you know what I'm saying? And replaced many with some kind of bullshit you can understand of a so-called being. So we got to wise up. And we've got to come off that conspiracy theory bullshit. And every time somebody says something, it's, by now, there is no fucking way that you are shocked to anything that can possibly, come out, be shown, or even blown wide open. What in the world would shock you other than something that looks so eerie that you couldn't stand to look at it? It would scare you. That's a different situation. But when it comes to opening up the door and understanding all that has been going on and still going on today, based on what? What proved that? COVID-19. You know what I'm saying? And many AIDS and many other different things. And you are still not paying attention to where even Robert F. Kennedy came out and told you. You know what I'm saying? And then they want to condemn him for it. You know what I'm saying? But how are you going to condemn someone after he said what he said? He done said it. You know what I'm saying? It don't mean that we all have to go and agree that he's not telling the truth, or agree that he is. But it is put out on the table for you to examine and look into. That is what you should be doing. You know what I'm saying? Instead of worrying about his statement and what he said. Because what he said should be the causer of your opening your minds to what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Instead of talking about some conspiracy theory and bullshit, to where he even comes out and say something. Now, for him to say it, he has to understand or see something himself. He wouldn't say it if it wasn't true. Or he wouldn't say it if he didn't see something that he had to see and now have to do. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you know what I'm saying, for something to happen, it don't just happen by itself. It's the same thing if I want my headphones and my headphones is sitting over there. Now, I'm going to walk out the door with my phone without, and say, my headphones will just come to me, as soon as I need them. Even though I left them at home on the shelf. You know You know what I'm saying? That's how it works. You know, something, like, I don't have to touch it, it just does it itself. But nothing happens that way. So let's stop being naive and a jackass. For something to happen, someone physically, as a body of a mankind or kind of man, you know what I'm saying, or even human, had to do something to make it move. It is not just going to get to you because that's the way it is. It's supposed to happen. It's supposed to move by itself. It's supposed to just fly through the income to me when I call it. Or that war took place and there was nothing in Sudan that been fought. But when you look at all the intricacies and what the people are saying based on what's going on, you see it's no more than a fucking dickhead set, a bunch of clown-ass motherfuckers that do not belong and should have never been in Sudan's government, Sudan's economy. None of Chinese, American, none of y'all asses should have been in Sudan in the first place. You have facilitated the garbage and the murder, just like we see, and displaced millions and probably already killed hundreds of thousands of people as if, they're human cargo. This is what is inside our governments all over the world today, facilitating and carrying out the wishes of these beasts. And you are up in Sudan acting as if like you own Sudan. That's Africa. That's black. And it's been here before your clown fucking Arab, Chinese, Caucasian, and all the rest of y'all clowns who share the same phenotype and hairdo. So don't give me that bullshit. Even when you're talking about the Grand Canyon and Ohio. We knew that. Talking about some discovery they met up with the native people. The native people wasn't even there with the stringy hair like you. Talking about the Chikawana, Pupupata, and all of that. Our people have been here before that. So if Egyptians came over here, they couldn't have met natives or whatever you want to call them with the same stringy hair phenotype like you. They had to have met other Africans as well. What you call the original red man. West Africa, Egypt, and so forth, Sudan and all of this. So, because our people have been discovered across the planet long before that. What proved that is all the pyramids right here in America. And what proved that in India. And what proved that is in China. And what proved that is all over the world. So don't tell me our people, you were here when our people were building them, because you know how long it takes to build even the ones they found in China under the water. When they're down there diving next to it, look like an ants compared to the size of it. Not long would it took them to build something, so you wasn't around, nor did you have the knowledge or the know-how to build it. That is my ancestors' shit, and you need to come up off of it. Talking about archaeology and discovery and shit, and y'all raiding and robbing the tombs and shit like a gutter trash piece of fucking common thief. You ain't got the nerve to sit up in our face talking about a conspiracy. Something is wrong with you.